This little light of mine,
I'm gonna let it shine,
let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
I'm Bishop William Byrne, inviting you to radiate the light of Christ by making a gift to the annual Catholic Appeal. The ministries and agencies supported with your generosity help thousands of our neighbors throughout Western Massachusetts. On behalf of the people we serve, thank you. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
It is back to school time in the Diocese of Springfield. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story coming up.
I'm Nick Morganelli, and I found many youth and their leaders full of energy, worshiping in faith and fun in downtown Springfield as Bishop Byrne engaged with them at the Steubenville East Conference.
And Dave Martin profiles an apostolate dedicated to finding hope, meaning, and joy in suffering. These stories are coming your way today on Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel as we kick off a new broadcast season, and a special greeting to our viewers on WWLP TV 22 News as we are coming to you at our special early Sunday morning time. You'll catch us here until late November, so grab your morning coffee and join us. Well, it's back to school time across Western Massachusetts. There are more than 3,000 students in our Catholic schools, which continue to welcome new families each year. Carolee McGrath reports that each day begins with prayer as students and staff are looking forward to a new year of learning.
What's this number word, Mia?
3.
3. Point your fingers. Let's write our number word 3. Ready?
Miss Patterson gets her first grade class at St. Stanislaus School in Chicopee ready to write their numbers. It's only a few days into the new year, but these boys and girls are locked in. What's your favorite part about school?
By learning.
Are you having fun in school?
Yeah.
What's your favorite part?
Recess.
That's a great. Okay, what do you like about school, buddy?
Recess.
You like recess too, silly Billy?
I also like recess.
You like recess too? St. Stan's was one of the first schools to go back to school in late August, and they have a new principal and assistant principal. Catherine Rorio is the principal, and her 2 children are students.
St. Stan's, to me, I went to school here, graduated 8th grade from here. My first teaching job was here for 20 years, teaching first grade. And I'm also a member of the Basilica right across the street, so coming back here is like coming home.
I went to Catholic school myself as a child, and I developed a very close relationship with Jesus and Mary. And so it feels like an honor, actually, to be in the position of helping Jesus and Mary lead a Catholic school.
St. Stanislaus Kostka School in Adams also has a new principal, Chris Bursaw. So what makes Catholic schools in particular special?
For one, the smaller class sizes is a big deal. The teachers have a lot more time to focus on each individual student. And obviously our Catholic identity is a big thing. So we have morning prayer that the students help me do during the morning over the loudspeaker. And a lot of these little things like that really help make it a special environment.
According to the National Catholic Education Association, Catholic schools all across the country saw a bump in enrollment during the COVID pandemic. But in recent years, they've been able to retain those new families. And it's the same story here in the Diocese of Springfield. St. Stanislaus in Adams has 10 new students this year. Pope Francis Prep in Springfield is up by 13, and St. Thomas the Apostle School in West Springfield is also up. Overall, the enrollment in the diocese remains higher than before the pandemic. Catholic schools remained open and in person during the pandemic, while most other schools were remote or hybrid.
I like praying and how we have religion classes, and we learn about the past of our faith in Jesus.
What do you like about Catholic school?
We learn about Jesus and God, and it's like all the teachers are really nice and
of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And together we prayed a prayer called the Memorare. You'll hear it every day at school.
And from St. Stan's in Adams to St. Mary's Academy in Long Meadow, where Father C.J. Watikas kicked off the first day with prayer, these students all across the diocese are off to a good start.
Amen.
Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Always such an exciting time of year, and joining me now to talk more about the new school year is Maria Wagner, Superintendent of Catholic Schools for the Diocese of Springfield. Hi Maria, we're happy to have you here on Reel to Reel.
Thank you, Sharon. It's great to be here.
Now, first of all, this is your first official task as superintendent, opening up a new school year in the diocese. How does it feel?
Feels great. I have had a lot of weeks to visit the schools and learn about the schools, and I have a few things that I want to talk about today about the things that I see and the things that are coming up this year.
And I know it's early, but how are things looking as the kids head back to the classroom?
The schools are great. The main thing that I see is a sense of community. I see teachers and parents and students, pastors and principals all gathering together. We see the bishop visiting all the schools, and that's just a great sense of community that I see, that everybody is working together towards the schooling for our students, so Catholic education of our schools.
So what can we expect this academic year?
What we can expect is communication. I want everyone who is in Catholic schools or who is not in Catholic schools to hear about the great things that are happening in our schools. All the Catholic identity that's in our schools and all the great academic excellence that's happening in our schools. So I want to communicate all that to the families.
All right, Maria Wagner, thanks so much, and nice to have you here, and good luck with the new school year.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Have a great day.
And for more information on the Catholic schools in the Diocese of Springfield, you can head over to diospringfield.org. Well, summer vacation didn't mean Catholic youth were not engaged in their faith. This past July, the Steubenville East Youth Conference was held in Springfield for the second year in a row. There were nearly 2,000 attendees, and the Catholic community of Western Massachusetts was well represented by hundreds of youth, their adult leaders, and local clergy. Nick Morganelli brings us the story.
This scene was duplicated 17 times at youth conferences nationwide, hosted by Steubenville University this summer.
We're knocking the roof off the place. The music is awesome, the speakers are incredible, but the kids are the best. But most importantly, it's all about Jesus, centered and focused on Jesus and coming to know his love, seeking refuge in him.
The theme was refuge, and youth were challenged to seek refuge in a relationship with Jesus. There were several speaker presentations around the theme in general sessions, but one could attend separate breakout sessions for women or men.
I'm no longer a slave to fear.
The man from Texas, he was talking about how he gets how kids have like a hard time keeping up with everything going on social media. So I thought that was really relatable. The highlight was definitely seeing a bunch of kids from different communities come together and experience their faith together.
It's a very Catholic conference, and that's the experience. It's reconciliation, adoration, mass, all very Eucharistic centered. I spent several hours hearing confessions this morning, and it was just so beautiful and powerful, but healing.
Something I'm looking forward to is going to confession. It always feels good after you do that. It's nervous beforehand because you're going to say all your things that no one else knows, but afterwards it does feel like there's just a weight off your shoulder.
After the weight has been lifted over 741 times, teens chilled out or just had fun in the grand ballroom, which transformed into a playground all weekend long.
Let's give it up for Bishop Byrne!
And there was a game on stage, Beat the Clock. One contestant, of course, was the local favorite. There was, however, other fierce clergy competition. Bishop Byrne was a quick thinker, offering an answer to meet the category, but timing on this round wasn't on his side. It was wonderful to meet so many teens engaged in their faith, being prayerful, worshiping, and having fun at the same time. All these fun and busy weekend activities take lots of planning. We caught up with one team member that has seen the fruits of their labor of love.
It really gives a lot of hope, especially as I witness miracles and all summer long as I've helped out at conferences, just seeing the transformation that happens in the young people, whether it's in the context of them going to confession and kind of laying everything down and being honest and vulnerable with the Lord, and just the restoration that they discover in their own heart, the refuge that they experience of God's love in their life, and that they can kind of walk out just completely restored in their own identity, or even the intimacy of the Eucharistic holy hours that we do, and just seeing the beauty, the love, the intentionality that really radiates on their face.
Last weekend, Bishop Burns celebrated a reunion mass for the Steubenville East attendees at St. Michael's Cathedral. Psalm 33 provided praise and worship music for the celebration.
This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread.
Bishop Burns welcomed teens and their youth leaders for a pizza dinner that was held in the Bishop Marshall Center, and a few students were bold enough to share their retreat experience with others. Taking refuge in Christ and getting filled with His Spirit in Springfield for Real to Real, I'm Nick Morganelli.
And if you missed out on Steubenville East this year, it'll be back at the Mass Mutual Center next July 26th through the 28th. Registration will open up in January. And still to come on Real to Real, Dave Martin profiles the Apostolate of the Suffering, a group dedicated to finding hope, meaning, and joy in suffering. And Dan Dumas will have the latest news briefs from across Western Massachusetts. All still to come on this edition of Real to Real.
Like Catholic TV on Facebook. Once you're there, you can join in on discussions, make friends with other Catholic TV fans, watch behind-the-scenes videos from the studio,
Just finished this today.
and stay up to date with the Catholic world. All this at facebook.com/CatholicTV.
As the U.S. Catholic Church prepares to celebrate Respect Life Month in October, the cover story in the fall issue of the Catholic Mirror features interviews with families who are raising children with Down syndrome. While couples who receive a prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome are routinely advised to consider abortion, these local Catholics speak about the special blessings and boundless love these children have brought into their lives. In local news, 29 Sisters of St. Joseph celebrate special anniversaries of religious life. 3 local students receive the Maurice A. Donahue Memorial Scholarship. And 2 local longtime Catholic school educators are recognized as they retire. A special news feature recognizes Holyoke's Sisters of Providence as they mark 150 years of service in the Springfield Diocese, and the legacy of hope and healing that will endure in Western Massachusetts. In a guest commentary, Diocesan Vicar General and local pastor Father Piotr Salik shares a beautiful reflection on the first 10 years of his priesthood. And in a first for the Mirror, a total of 6 people nominated Munson parishioner Kathy Ritz as the September Parish Angel. In his column, Bishop Burns shares advice for finding the hope that only Jesus can give. So perhaps this time of paying special attention to life issues will inspire us to renew our respect for all God-given life, in the womb and in the world we share as we walk with Jesus on the journey to the home of his Father. At the editor's desk, I'm Rebecca. 'Rebecca. Drake. 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 'Rebec
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel News Briefs. The threat of rain kept festivities and worship indoors for the annual Faith on Fire rally at Sacred Heart Church in Feeding Hills, but it turned out to be another spirit-filled and well-attended event. Nick Morganelli tells us more.
Praise and worship music was combined with three main presenters this year. Marian Father Anthony Gremlich from the Shrine of the Divine Mercy in Stockbridge, and Father David Alfaro, the pastor of Holy Family Parish in South Deerfield. Bishop William Byrne also graced attendees, who gave him a huge welcome. He spoke on evangelization and did it with humor.
How many people here know someone that they love dearly who doesn't go to church anymore? Oh, what a coincidence. We all have that in common, all right? It should say that as we leave every parking lot of every one of our parishes. A big sign that says, "You are entering mission territory." Because the world doesn't know Jesus Christ. Everyone should be trying to do things to bring people in, to give them encounters with Jesus, to let them pray before the Blessed Sacrament, to sing together. Don't wait for your pastor to say something. Get your friends together and say, "Hey, we can do this," and then go bring it to the pastor and say, "We'll make it happen. Just support us."
Joanne Capicillo, co-leader of the event, is one of a team of 20 laypersons who met weekly to line up confessors, prayer teams, and food vendors in the months prior to ensure its success.
The parish group that we have here, the St. Martha's Guild, we do fried dough, and we do our homemade brownies and ice cream sundaes, and everybody who is in charge of certain areas brings their information to the table, and we put it together, and it just comes together. We thank God for just being here and being able to serve Him in our parish.
This first-time attendee was overjoyed to take part in adoration and the outdoor procession. Thanks be to God for the break in the rain.
The procession right now reminds me of Marian processions that they have at Lourdes and Fatima, but it's right here. We are slowly dancing with the harmonies. Beautiful harmonies here. And the harmonies for me are not just musical, they're spiritual. They can lift us to breathe together, to hope together, to pray together.
The parish family, who worships at St. John the Evangelist in Agawam, seek ways to connect their family with the Catholic community outside of Sunday Mass.
It's important for us to bring our kids around other families who are raising their kids Catholic, and to see that there's other mommies and daddies that are living this life.
Living this Catholic faith in Feeding Hills, I'm Nick Morganelli.
This past spring, the Pope Francis boys lacrosse team enjoyed its best season in many years. And while the players received accolades, their coach was also honored for his achievements. The accolades for the 2023 Pope Francis boys lacrosse team continue as Coach Bob McGoldrick received the U.S. Lacrosse Regional Award for Coach of the Year. This past spring, McGoldrick led the Cardinals to a 16-4 record and the school's first Western Massachusetts title. In McGoldrick's first season, 2022, he came out of retirement to guide the Cardinals to an 8-9 record with high expectations for this year. The 2023 senior-laden squad got off to a quick start with an 8-game win streak and finished the regular season 12-3. In the Western Mass Class B tournament, Pope Francis beat South Hadley, then Wacona in the final. In the State Division III tournament, the Cardinals knocked off Wilmington and Groton Dunstable before losing in the quarterfinals to the number 1 seed and eventual champion, Norwell. McGoldrick credits his success to the coaching staff and the graduating seniors for their leadership and dedication on and off the field.
Guys, for the whole coaching staff, we're extremely pleased with the way you carried yourself today and the way you played lacrosse today. You worked as a team together. It was excellent.
McGoldrick is confident Pope Francis has the talent to compete again for division and state honors in 2024.
Roll by 3! 1, 2, 3!
In other news, Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish in Springfield recently revived a traditional celebration for the Feast of the Assumption. The Assunta Feast included Mass, a procession, and dinner to honor the Blessed Mother. Carolee McGrath has more.
The Sons and Daughters of Italy's St. Padre Pio Lodge 3013 and the Assunta Society of Springfield brought back the Assunta Feast at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish in Springfield Sunday, August 13th. The procession wound through part of the South End following the 10:30 Mass. It was a tradition in the city for decades to honor the Blessed Mother in advance of the Feast of the Assumption, which is celebrated August 15th.
We've had Our Lady of Assunta Society from years ago. My father was actually an original member, and it was huge back then. We've lost touch with a lot of the people. Our people have passed, so the younger generation are going to reinstate it and start it up again. And this is our first feast, and it's so dear to our hearts.
The Assunta Feast began in 1930 on William Street by immigrants from Calabria, Italy. The early immigrants chose St. Mary of the Assumption as the patroness of their society.
The Blessed Mother's always important, and she's part of our life every day. So whenever we can honor her, we will.
Before the procession stepped off, parishioners taped money to the statue, an old tradition which in turn supports the ministries of the parish.
The social life in Italy was imbued by tradition, Christian tradition, faith, etc. Now the world is changing.
Organizers are hoping to make this an annual tradition to reinvigorate the faith of the entire community.
Blessed Mother is the best witness of Jesus Christ because she accepted the message and she put her will totally at disposition of Jesus.
A dinner was held later in the afternoon at the parish center. In Springfield, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And you could read more on these and other stories at iobserve.org, where you can find articles from our Catholic communication staff, as well as on-demand episodes of Real to Real. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Real to Real news briefs.
Finally today, in the 1980s, Bishop Constantino Luna brought the Apostolate of the Suffering from Italy to Guatemala and America, where he helped establish the National Shrine of the Apostolate at Mary Farm in Palmer. The local apostolate, a new recipient of the annual Catholic Appeal, helps people who suffer find hope in God. Recently, David Martin attended the monthly apostolate prayer meeting and learned how the apostolate will benefit from ACA funds.
The Apostolate of the Suffering was first established in Italy in 1947 by Monsignor Luigi Navarrese, who wanted those suffering in hospitals to find a role in society and the church. Stacia Bronner, the vice president and treasurer of the local apostolate, explained when Italian Bishop Constantino Luna brought the Apostolate of the Suffering to the United States, he knew Janine and Dr. Ray Gagnon, and also Silent Worker of the Cross, Brother Bob Litez.
He started the message with them. So Brother Bob worked with Bishop Joseph McGuire to get the approval from the diocese, and he received it. And then Dr. Gagnon and Janine Gagnon donated this property to the Apostolate of the Suffering.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Bronner shared that some activities at Mary Farm include the annual retreat day in July. Prayer and liturgy are offered for redemptive suffering.
Since we all suffer at one time or another, or to some degree or another, the purpose is to tell the people that it doesn't have to be a negative thing, because it can be totally positive if we offer it back to God, and if we offer it with the intention of saving souls.
Mary Farm also hosts a fun summer picnic. Bronner encourages people to visit Mary Farm to meditate in peace and reflect on their suffering. All are invited the first Saturday of each month to console the Immaculate Heart of Mary by reading devotions and offering discussions.
We try to meditate in in detail according to the book that was written by Sister Mary of Agreda, the mystical city of God. Adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed.
Stations of the Cross are prayed by the group, including apostolate member Deborah Horn.
I like to be among people who are like-minded and are also striving to get closer to Jesus and through Mary, because I have a special devotion to Mary. So I find this place to be especially enlightening for me, and I feel like there's a special bond with the others that come here as well.
Bronner is grateful for annual Catholic Appeal funding that will help maintain buildings on the property. Newly named Mary Farm Administrator Dennis Hamill added that renovations are needed on the roof of the farmhouse that is leaking. They have created a GoFundMe page. Hamill said donations are few due to ailing membership as members grow older.
They're all passing away, so I am one of the only ones left that's doing work here. We are in need of people that are willing to come and volunteer and donate time to Jesus through Mary. We need grounds maintenance volunteers. We need small repair volunteers. Numerous projects that we're trying to accomplish here to keep the dream alive of having this place be a retreat for handicapped people.
Those who want to volunteer at Mary Farm can email them at maryfarm@comcast.net or call 413-283-4529. Bronner hopes with a branch now in Maine, the Apostolate of the Suffering will expand throughout the United States, encouraging many to offer their suffering as penance for the salvation of others, as Christ did on the cross. For Real to Real, I'm David Martin.
Dennis Hamill believes Mary Farm is truly holy ground, and anyone wishing to use it for events like parish picnics or retreats can contact Mary Farm. We have their contact information at iobserve.org. And as we said, this apostolate receives a grant from the annual Catholic Appeal. It's not too late to make your contribution to the 2023 campaign to support ministries like Mary's Farm or our Catholic Communications programming. You can find a link at diospringfield.org. The 2023 campaign total now stands at just over $2.5 million raised, with a goal of $3 million. So your donation will be greatly appreciated. And for this week, that's Real to Real. Kicking off on September 7th is a presentation of Eucharistic Miracles at St. Catherine of Siena Parish at 1023 Parker Street in Springfield. The Vatican International Exhibit of Eucharistic Miracles is a compilation of miracles approved by the Catholic Church dating back to the 1st century. This massive amount of information was cataloged by Blessed Carlo Acutis. The presentation runs through September 10th, and you can call the parish for times at 413-783-8619, or we have a flyer with more information at iobserve.org. And that's where you can also keep up to date on the latest news of the Catholic Church here in Western Massachusetts and around the world. That's iobserve.org, where we have it all for you, including a link to our YouTube page where you can see past segments and entire Reel-to-Reel programs. You can also find us on Facebook at Catholic Communications. And for our viewers here on WWLP TV 22, Reel to Real will continue to air Sunday mornings at 6:30 a.m. due to NBC's Saturday football schedule. Everyone else will see us at your regular times. So join me next week at this same time for Reel to Real, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Reel to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.